Chapter 30, The Emancipation of Women. Mukhtaran might become a household name internationally. It is most unfortunate that her traumatic experience, a rape, propelled her to fame. Much has been heard, said, and written about this rape, yet it bears telling as an example of some of the challenges faced by women in Pakistan. Mukhtaran Mai, a woman of the Gujar tribe, was born in 1969 in the village of Murwala in South Punjab. She is divorced, or at least was at the time of the incident. Her brother, Abdul Shakur, was believed to be in a relationship with a woman named Naseem, of the Mastoi tribe, which considers its status higher than that of the Gujar. Abdul Shakur and Naseem were supposedly caught together by Abdul Khalik and Aladida, both brothers of Naseem. Abdul Shakur was overpowered, sodomized, and then handed over to the police. The villagers decided to convene a panchayat, a traditional forum of local elders, to resolve the dispute. The panchayat decided that Abdul Shakur was to marry Naseem, and that Mukhtaran Mai should marry one of the brothers of Naseem. Naseem's brother Abdul Khalik and a few others did not agree with the decision. Mukhtaran Mai was dragged into a room by Abdul Khalik and Aladida, another brother, and two others. According to the testimony of witnesses, Mukhtaran Mai came out visibly ruffled and partly undressed. Needless to say, Mukhtaran Mai was not to blame, nor should she have been punished for her brother's indiscretion with Naseem. Islam forbids both fornication and punishing an innocent person for 312. The Emancipation of Women 313, someone else's crime. It also forbids giving girls from one family away in marriage to someone in an aggrieved family as reparation. This is un-Islamic, illegal, inhumane, and uncivilized. It is, however, one of the regrettable age-old customs of some of our rural areas that have imposed their beliefs onto both Islamic and secular law. This does not mean that state should not use all the means at its disposal to root out such customs. It is indeed the duty of the state to protect the weak, the disadvantaged, and those at the margins of society. That is what the state is all about. However, rooting out old customs is easier said than done in a country of 160 million that occupies a vast area, where education is limited, especially in the rural regions. Still, we are trying. The panchayat and the incident in the room took place on June 22, 2002. A report was lodged with the police on June 30. The hue and cry raised in newspapers caught my attention, and I immediately moved in favor of Mukhtaran Mai. I sent her the equivalent of about $10,000 and assured her of my full support. No amount of money, however, can ever compensate for the trauma of rape. The case was tried in an anti-terrorist court in Dera Ghazi Khan, and the court gave a death sentence to the two brothers of Naseem and their four accomplices on August 31, 2002. The convicted men appealed to the Lahore High Court, which acquitted all except Abdul Khalik, whose death sentence was reduced to life imprisonment, owing to insufficient evidence. This judgment was passed on March 3, 2005. The judgment by the High Court led to an extensive campaign by the media, human rights groups, NGO, and women's rights activists. A petition on behalf of Mukhtaran Mai was filed in the Supreme Court of Pakistan on June 26, 2005, against the verdict of the Lahore High Court. Arrest warrants were issued against all the released men, and they were put behind bars again, bail having been disallowed. Throughout this saga, I remained discreetly on the side of Mukhtaran Mai. The government facilitated the establishment of a school, a police post, and a women's crisis center in her village, at a cost of approximately $300,000. Innumerable NGOs, ambassadors, and women's rights activists visited the village, invited her to various functions, and gave her financial and moral support. She was awarded the Fatima Jinnah Gold Medal by an advisor to the Prime Minister for Social Welfare on August 2, 2005. 314 in the line of fire. Mukhtaran Mai traveled extensively all over the world. She went to Spain on February 2, 2003, to Saudi Arabia on August 12, 2004, to India on January 10, 2004, to the United States in October 2005, January 2006, and May 2006, and to France in January 2006. She has been interviewed on many television channels and by the print media, and has also been given innumerable awards the world over. Mukhtaran Mai is very well known now, a celebrity of sorts, though because of her tragedy I am cautious about using that word. She runs schools and a women's crisis center, and has a website and a secretary to assist her. If there is a silver lining to her mistreatment, it is that she has been able to bring attention to the plight of women in many parts of Pakistan. Rape, no matter where it happens in the world, is a tragedy and deeply traumatic for the victim. My heart, therefore, goes out to Mukhtaran Mai and any woman to whom such a fate befalls. It is also not easy for a woman victim to prosecute her oppressors. That is an experience which is at times no less harrowing than the crime itself. Any woman who takes this road deserves credit and our respect for her courage. Mukhtaran Mai is indeed such a woman. Her fortitude also has helped focus the debate, and indeed our attention on the need for speedy and effective corrective measures. The women of Pakistan suffer. They are often denied justice, and in a civilized society that is inexcusable. Violence against women, including rape, is not uncommon in Pakistan. We have to take focused measures to rectify this sad malady. Rape and violence against women are a universal phenomena, but this does not justify their presence in Pakistan. We need to set our own house in order. I only object when Pakistan is singled out and demonized. When a case of female victimization in Pakistan comes to light, sometimes the first casualty is the truth. Why does this happen? The media is usually the first source and attention for such cases. This is helpful because it gives prominence to the issue and generates a sense of urgency in the government. But some irresponsible outlets broadcast their opinions and write their own versions of event without complete knowledge of the facts. People with only half-baked knowledge make statements that become gospel truth. The official agencies are slow to the emancipation of WOMEN 315 react, sometimes through sheer callousness, and sometimes because they do not want to reveal certain facts for fear of affecting the case or weakening the investigation. Politicians, especially those in opposition, are fast to enter the fray and distort the facts to malign the government. NGOs also join in, mostly with good intention, but they become victims of the hundreds of unsubstantiated stories. The truth thus keeps getting buried deeper and deeper. Last but not the least, so much money sometimes gets involved in the story that facts get further submerged. The government must take cognizance of and practical measures to undo the tragic and shameful condition of women in our society. The authorities must be the first to reach out and to react when injustice occurs. They must be the ones to get all the facts out. They must not be overly concerned about the secrecy or confidentiality of the evidence. We are now trying to adopt this line of action. The emancipation of women mattered to me even before I took office. As an army officer, I saw the situation faced by women in many parts of the country. It always felt wrong to me. We have to do something about it. The debate, however, must take place within Pakistan's political and social landscape. Domestically, I am prepared to discuss and address any and all gender issues affecting our society. Through this book, I declare my total support of and commitment to the cause of women in Pakistan. The views of our local champions of women's rights are consonant with mine. Perhaps where we differ is over the methodology for achieving our shared goals. When one demands equal rights for women, one needs to assess in which areas women can work better than men, in which they can work like men, and in which they need protection and affirmative action for when they cannot work like men. I personally feel that we have to adopt a graduated, incremental approach, tackling measures simultaneously to develop capacity in women in areas where they need help and improvement. My first aim has been the political empowerment of women. Empowering them politically gives them a way to shape their own future. Through empowerment, they gain an opportunity to fight for women's causes themselves in the highest governmental bodies. Year 316 in the line of fire her, I discussed what I have done to empower women politically at all levels of government, local, provisional, and national. We established a women's political school at a cost of $4.3 million to help train women for political offices. By 2006, about 27,000 had been trained. We established a national commission on the status of women to oversee women's rights, and a gender reform action plan fully funded by the government of Pakistan to ensure enhanced representation of women and their overall emancipation. These efforts have helped women make great strides. Today, women are serving in public office at every level. 7 in the federal cabinet, 6 provincial ministers, 10 parliamentary secretaries, and 12 chairpersons of standing committees of the Senate and National Assembly. Besides all this, for the first time, a woman has been appointed to the prestigious and powerful position of Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. 1 Major General in the Army is a woman. 2 women for the first time have been appointed as judges of the Sindh High Court. A woman has been appointed a Deputy Attorney General, again a first, and women have been inducted in the Army and also as pilots in the Pakistan Air Force. Major initiatives are being taken to encourage education among girls through increased facilities, and special incentives. These are all bearing fruit. Girls in cities are now much more committed to higher education than boys. In fact, their overall performance is far better than that of boys. Efforts are also being made toward the economic empowerment of women. Several skills training projects backed up by microcredit facilities have been launched. A women's chamber of commerce and industry has been launched. A huge exhibition showcasing products for women was recently held in Karachi. I had the privilege of helping to launch it. Over 100,000 women participated. We have to confront the curse of violence against women and fight against laws that discriminate against them. The National Assembly passed legislation banning honor killing, or karokari as it is locally called. This, however, is not the ultimate answer. Honor killing is an evil practice, which has the sanction of custom in certain backward areas of Pakistan. It is repugnant to Islam, but it has been practiced by some Pakistani Muslims for a very long time. Only education and the Emancipation of Women 317 Amendment, not just legislation, can eventually bring it to an end. A big step has been taken by the government, but its implementation will take time. To support the legislation and provide solace to women who have been treated violently, a National Committee on Violence Against Women has been formed. A chain of well-equipped crisis centers and shelters have been opened, and special complaint phone lines for women have been established at police stations. The trickiest of all issues and the most sensitive is the Hudud law that was enacted in 1979 under General Zia, who openly courted religious extremists. The word Hudud means limits, and the Hudud law pertains to the transgression of those limits. It sets punishments for such crimes as adultery, theft, and rape. The religious lobby and especially its political parties consider this law to be in accordance with Islamic tradition. But most women and intellectuals and many enlightened religious scholars think that the law misinterprets our religion and that it discriminates against women. This law has tarnished our image immeasurably. It is now under review by the National Commission on the Status of Women, and the results will be presented to Parliament. The Ministry of Women's Development is trying to develop a consensus for its repeal. The issue needs deft political and constitutional hand-dealing, but I believe we should be bold enough to correct past wrongs. On the whole, I believe we have set in motion an irreversible process toward the emancipation of women. I say it is irreversible because I see it gradually gaining momentum. Women themselves have risen to fight for their rights, and many men now realize that they cannot and should not try to stop the process.